Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to another episode of ReaperCast. Today I wanted to talk about a lot of amazing cards here that have actually been revealed for the Lost Sanctuary Reloaded structure deck. This is definitely very intriguing for the fact that it's a reloaded structure deck, meaning the cards are going to be kind of revamps of the old cards, which is definitely really fantastic of course. I cannot actually express how happy I am to actually see this. It was one of the first structure decks that I've ever actually bought when I first got into Yu-Gi-Oh, so it does actually hold a special place. And this was actually announced a long time ago, but we never received any kind of support or reveals for these new cards up until now. So throughout that time, I've just been having this in the back of my mind, and it's just something that has really just been anticipated for a long time. So with that being said, let's talk about all of these cards. Now of course you have to consider one thing, and that is the fact that this is going to be a long time before this structure deck actually comes out. We have yet to actually get the Egyptian God structure decks, and then after that we're also expected to get the Cyber style structure deck coming out in October. Yes, it's been delayed for a very long time. This pretty much means that this Lost Sanctuary Reloaded structure deck is most likely going to come out in 2022, which is definitely very devastating. That is a long time from now, and it is going to be very tough to actually wait out till then. But of course, let's now talk about all of these new cards and see what we have to work with. So the first card we have here is Master Flare Hyperion, obviously a remake of Master Hyperion. This is a light fairy synchro effect monster, and it's a level 10 with 3200 attack and 2600 defense. It requires one tuner monster and one non-tuner fairy monsters, which is definitely not bad at all, given your deck is expected to be fairies anyway. The first and second effects can only be used once per turn each. So first effect, you could send one agent monster or one monster that specifically lists the sanctuary in the sky in its text from your hand deck or extra deck to the graveyard. Until the end phase, this card's name becomes the sent monster's original name, and replace this effect with that monster's original effects. That's not bad, definitely very nice, because it allows you to use monsters that have specific effects catered towards when you actually might need it in the situation in an actual game itself. And second effect, when your opponent activates a card or effect as a quick effect, you can banish one fairy monster from your hand and or graveyard, then target one card on the field, banish it. That's not particularly the worst thing, it's definitely very nice because banishing is definitely stronger than actually destroying it. But my issue is that it still targets, which is kind of an issue because there's a lot of cards that are just protected by that particular mechanic. But with that being said, it's definitely a clear upgrade from the original Master Hyperion. Obviously the Master Hyperion, the original one that is still a very strong card even up until now. I could actually still picture myself playing the old Hyperion in this deck. But with that being said, this is definitely a new boss monster that actually is set in stone as to what this deck will actually be about, which is all about synchros. So I am quite excited about this. However, moving on to the next card, we have here Majesty Hyperion, a Dark Fairy effect monster, level 8, 2100 attack and 2700 defense. You can only special summon by the first procedure of this card's name once per turn. So, first effect, you could special summon this card from your hand or graveyard by banishing one the agent monster from your hand, field or graveyard. That's actually a very powerful effect. I mean, that's a lot stronger than the original Hyperion, so again, this is definitely a fantastic upgrade, and I love the duality of the fact that this is a dark monster. Second effect, all battle damage you take from battles involving your fairy monsters is also inflicted to your opponent. I really love that. It's kind of like this anti-light monster. It's like the antithesis to a typical fairy monster. It's dark, so naturally to actually just deal damage to your opponent as well, fantastic. And third effect, once per turn, you could banish one fairy monster from your hand or graveyard, then target one card in either graveyard, banish it. I love that, definitely very powerful. If Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field or in the graveyard, you can activate this effect up to twice per turn. That's fantastic. I mean, it just has to be in the graveyard, which is quite crazy. Because to get this card running, all you need to do is play Foolish Burial Goods, which actually just puts Sanctuary in the Sky in your actual graveyard. Otherwise, set rotation and terraforming is still possible even at 1 copy. It's really nice here to make the deck work. And I love how the agent decks, or the Hyperion deck in this case, still works or centers around the Sanctuary in the Sky. It's quite fitting of the actual archetype. However, our third and final new card here is called the Agent of Life Neptune. I'm very happy about this because we finally have Neptune. Of course, we know all of the agent cards are actually focused on different planets on the solar system, so to see that we're getting one for Neptune is definitely a wonderful news to actually hear about. It's a light fairy effect monster and it's level 1 with 0 attack and 600 defense. And the first and second effects of this card's name can only be used once per turn each. So first effect, you could discard this card, special summon 1 the agent monster from your hand or graveyard except the Agent of Life Neptune, but it cannot be tributed until the end of your opponent's turn. If the Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field or in the graveyard, you could special summon 1 Master Hyperion monster instead. Actually, it doesn't even say Master, it just says you could summon 1 Hyperion monster, which is definitely very versatile. So already a really great start. Second effect, if this card becomes banished, you could add 1 the Sanctuary in the Sky from your deck to your hand. That's pretty easy considering the previous Master Hyperion card, or at least in this case, Majesty Hyperion. I'm actually liking all of these new cards coming together. They're definitely very nice, they synergize very well, and they're also just a nice buff and stick to the actual theme of the archetype. I absolutely love this. I'm definitely looking forward to this particular archetype coming out. I can't wait for the structure deck. It's just something that I'm way more excited for than a lot of different other things that have actually come out in a very long time. However, with that being said, we are also getting confirmed reprints for Master Hyperion, which is definitely very nice of course because I said it was a good card. We're also getting here the Agent of Judgment Saturn as a reprint as well, so definitely fantastic. And of course we are getting reprints of the Agent of Wisdom Mercury as well as the Agent of Force Mars. Now it will be interesting if cards actually come out that make these cards more viable because they're not necessarily the most playable. And of course we're also getting the Agent of Miracles Jupiter and the Agent of Entropy Uranus. Now Uranus is definitely a very interesting one because it was one of the more recent support that came out. Well, not recent but many years ago, but even so it came out long after the original agent list came out. So seeing it being reprinted is still something that is definitely very nice. And of course we're getting here Mystical Shine Ball, and we're also getting this Sanctuary in the Sky, which is obviously going to make sense. However, the interesting thing is that we're getting 2 copies of Mystical Shine Ball apparently, and one of them will be a normal parallel rare. Now of course this is specifically for the OCG, but I'm wondering how it will be incorporated in the TCG. If it actually gives us a special rarity for it, I will definitely be very pleased. But we're also getting cards from the Sky as a reprint, and also the Agent of Mystery Earth. Earth is obviously one of the key cards to go into your cards, or your plays at least. It is the Tuna monster, the only Tuna monster aside from Uranus, so you obviously want to have cards to go into your actual Synchro monster. And finally we're getting here a reprint of the Agent of Creation Venus, which makes sense of course, because it's meant to go for your Mystical Shine Balls. So this is overall something that I'm very happy about. I just really have not many words to actually say about it. It's just something that is always going to be on my mind. And I cannot wait for what the future support actually comes out with, because I'm sure there are still some remaining cards for this actual structure deck. However, very quickly I wanted to talk about the Platinum Blue Eyes White Dragon. It's finally available for pre-order. Keep in mind it is a $1,000 card, so if you guys don't have the money, it is definitely going to be a shame. I mean, it is a really rare piece of product, I guess. I mean, it's not the easiest thing you'll be able to get anyway, because even if you have the money, there is still a very limited amount of these actually available for pre-order. So get them quick. And very quickly, I also wanted to quickly run through the OCG ban list as well. Definitely very interesting, definitely something that maybe might contribute to how the TCG might release their ban list. But let's just take a quick look because there's really not many cards. Firstly, in the forbidden list, Zodiac Trident completely got destroyed. I don't see that happening in the TCG. I think Zodiacs don't make enough of an impact for it to warrant a ban. If anything, I could see it coming off the ban list completely. As for limited, there are no changes whatsoever. However, as for semi-limited, we have Pendulum Core, we have Fire Formation Tanky, and we have Cyframe Gear Gamma. I don't necessarily see that as significant hits, aside from maybe Pendulum Core, because if Pendulum Core came back from limited to semi, you could definitely make a lot of things work out with that. However, as for unlimited, we are getting Mathematician, Wind Up Magician, Union Hanger, and Firewall Dragon, well at least the OCG is getting it. Now I do see Firewall coming back to 3 in the TCG as well, because if you're getting an errata, there's no point in keeping it at 1, you may as well just release it completely. Union Hanger is okay to come back as well in the TCG because technically we did lose Union Carrier. Mathematician doesn't really make too much of an impact, but I am excited to see what wind-ups will actually be able to do now with 3 Magicians. But definitely leave me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Otherwise, if you enjoyed this video, drop a like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell notification. I hope you all have a fantastic day. I'll see you all next time.